Propel Fitness Water. With Gatorade electrolytes, zero sugar, and vitamins, Propel hydrates better than water to help you get the most out of your workout and get back to your best self. What propels you? Propel with Gatorade electrolytes.
This episode is brought to you by Facebook. So you were scrolling on Marketplace, and there it was, the bike you'd been searching for. You sent a message, and it turned out the seller was super chatty, kind of funny, and an avid cyclist. The next thing you know, you're in a cycling crew. Well, a community cycling group. The thing about Facebook, you might find more than what you're looking for. From a browse to a bike ride, this summer find more on Facebook.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Coach Unplugged is brought to you by great people over at teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. Here is your host, Steve Collins.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday, episode 553. Today we're going to talk about 3 obstacles for every basketball coach. And I know I have more than 3, to be honest with you. That's probably have hundreds of them. And that's one of the reasons I started teachhoops.com and this podcast is all these obstacles I was facing. I wanted to kind of share them with you and things I've learned over the 30 plus years and all of our wins over those years. I've been very, very blessed. So make sure you go over and check that out. Make sure you go over and check out our Patreon page too over there. And in Teach Hoops, we're doing a new daily podcast. So I'd love you to go over and check that out. It's kind of my thoughts behind being a head coach. And subscribe and like. We would love if you do that. And last but surely not least, go over and check out people over at Dr. Dish, the revolutionary shooting machine for every level. You know, you can't tell me that there's not a winning program that doesn't have a shooting machine in their gym. So go over and check it out. And let's head off to the podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Unplugged. Brought to you by the great people over at teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Go check it out. It's a great resource. Hundreds of coaches, great community, great resources, practice plans, everything you would need to broaden your horizons and then to become a better coach, because we're all learning every day. And that's part of the reason I do these podcasts and do all the things I do, just because I want to become a better coach every day. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the 3 obstacles that I see coaches have, or I have heard from other coaches all over the world. There are 3 biggest obstacles into coaching. The first one is parents, and this is probably the one I hear the most often, and it doesn't have to be that way. This is not an adversarial thing between parents and coaches, and the reason is that, and I'm going to tell you, the biggest issue most of the time between parents and coach is probably a communication. So you have to think about, when are you, so these are the questions I always ask myself. How am I going to talk to parents? How am I going to communicate? I know in Teach Hoops, we talk about the Remind app. We talk about some other ways of communicating. When will you talk to them? I'm not going to talk to you as a parent right after a game, but when would I talk to you? When would I sit down and have a conversation with you and your son or daughter? Where would that happen? It's not going to happen in the hallway. It's not going to happen in the gym. Where is that going to occur? So all these things you got to think about. And what's the meeting going to be about? Is it going to be about playing time? Because that meeting is probably not going to go well. But, maybe if it's going to go about what kind of offense we're running, probably not going to go well. But, where are we going to have that meeting? Who's going to be at that meeting? I never do one of those meetings normally without the player there and without another coach there. Just because I know the times that I've had a one-on-one meeting with my son, which is a hilarious story. I told him something that he needed to do if he wanted to become a better player. I had one of my assistant coaches in there. Well, what he came home and told his mom, I said, and what I actually said were not the same thing. not even close. So I think it's important to have that communication, both with the player and with the parent. And if you don't, then there's going to be this adversarial. It's not you versus me, it's us. And if you want to build a team and build a cohesive group, then it's important to involve the parents. The parents are important parts of the kids' lives, and they're definitely important parts of your life. So that communication is very important. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the players. Now, what do I hear most about the players? I hear the players are lazy. I hear the players don't work hard. I hear the players, are doing 20 other things. I hear the players don't work on their skills. Those complaints have probably been around for 30, 40 years. I agree. But you as a coach, or me as a coach, what can we do to teach them? So if I want to teach a kid how to use synthetic division, and it's an Algebra 2 mathematical term, I'm going to show them basic division, and then I'm going to show them long division, then I'm going to show them synthetic division. Well, if I want a kid to work hard or do things in the off season, I have to show them what's expected. It starts with you, setting the bar high, but then it also starts with, how are you going to show them that work ethic? How are you going to show them this is what a winning team or a winning player does in the off season? So I think those are really important things. That goes to workouts, that goes to skill stuff, that goes to all those kind of things. And then the third thing I hear is planning and practicing. We all, I know I have this in my classroom. It's like I'm doing this podcast and I'm already thinking about what I need to do for my class tomorrow. Practice planning and setting up a good lesson plan is hard. It's an obstacle for us coaches. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes thought. And all those obstacles I think are hard, are difficult for us as coaches, but I think they're important things to look at when you're picking a team, when you're thinking about how you want to coach, how are you going to face those obstacles? Just like we tell the kids, we want to face every obstacle. This team runs a 2-3 zone and we have to figure out a way to break it and do all those kind of things. Yes, that is a huge obstacle. And we have to figure out how we can tackle it. That's really hard. It's the same thing with these, and this is, to be honest with you, this is one of the reasons I started teachhoops.com. I've started working on a parent curriculum. I'm not totally done with that, but I've talked to handfuls of coaches about parents, about expectations, about how to communicate. We spend a lot of time on our off-season workout, what we do from March until November, which is when I really think teams are built. And we just put up practice planning is kind of my big thing this year. I'm going to try to put up my practice plans. I'm putting up the practice plans of other coaches. I just put up a whole entire high school season. I started working on youth ones. I've started working on intermediate ones, kind of in between the youth and high school. They're all there. They're great. And eventually I'm going to add some videos to them and do some explanations and do those kind of things. But it's the reason I started Teach Hoops. I was facing those same obstacles. I was going, what kind of offense should we run? What kind of defense should we run? I just got off, a 45-minute discussion with a member of teachhoops.com. He was having some problems. He's a second-year coach. We talked to him through some offense. We talked to him through some defense. We talked about some practice things. That's why I'm here. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all the people that are members of Teach Hoops. I want to thank all the people that listen to this podcast because, it's something that, it's close to my heart, and it's why I got into it. So, again, totally, these are the three obstacles I've heard the most. I'm sure there's other ones. I don't have a 6'7" kid in the middle. Could be an obstacle, whatever it is. I'm sure we all face obstacles every day, not only in the basketball court, but just day-to-day lives. So yes, they are difficult. It's difficult times. And I do understand that. But these are just the ones that I have personally heard from other coaches that have caused difficulty for them. So I would love if you would subscribe or like the podcast. I would love if you leave some input. I would even love more if you'd go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's a great site. I think you'll enjoy it. And we would love to have you be a member of that too. So go over and check it out. I'll put it down in the show notes. I'll put it in the YouTube. I'll do all that kind of stuff for you. But just go over and check it out. And I think you'll be really happy with it. So www.teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Thanks. Hey, Coach, hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you subscribe and like. Leave a written review. We love those written reviews a lot. Also, I would ask that you work on your craft, just like we ask our players to work on their craft. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. And then if you're going to do any shopping, click that Amazon link down below. Use that, bookmark that. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.
Sleep Number's new collections are designed to adapt to the changing nature of your life and your sleep needs. Whether it's the personalized comfort of the Comfort Mode mattress, the targeted pressure relief of the Comfort Next mattress, or the Climate Collection that actively cools or warms to help you fall asleep and stay asleep.
And now, all beds are on sale during our biggest sale of the year. Save 25% on the new Comfort Next Luxe for a limited time, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.